Jungkook didn't just smile, he accidentally confessed something about Jimin that froze the entire fandom on camera. It began as a harmless Japanese interview, quiet, calm, almost routine. But in the middle of that peaceful atmosphere, Jungkook let slip a sentence so pure, so unfiltered, that the entire fandom fell silent for a moment before exploding into chaos. He said, "Being in love with Jimin is fun." A simple line, a soft smile, a moment so small it could have been missed. Yet so powerful that fans all over the world felt the weight behind those words. Because it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't scripted, it wasn't delivered with the polished tone idols use during promotions. It felt real. It felt natural. It felt like a truth quietly escaping from someone who forgot the cameras were rolling. And the moment it slipped, Jimin froze for half a second, his eyes widening just enough to show surprise before a shy, almost trembling smile bloomed on his face. He looked down, bit his lip, and gave Jungkook the softest pinch on the arm, like a silent, "What are you saying? Not here." That tiny exchange triggered a global eruption. Fans began digging through years of footage, rediscovering patterns, gestures, and silent communications that suddenly made Jungkook's comment feel inevitable. Because behind the glittering stages and explosive performances, there's a quieter story woven into years of shared laughter, exhaustion, comfort, and unspoken understanding. A story that many fans believe reached a new emotional peak in that one whispered sentence. To understand why that moment hit so deeply, you need to look at the way Jungkook and Jimin have always moved around each other. Not dramatically, not loudly, but with a softness that feels instinctive. Behind the scenes, cameras often captured them in moments they clearly didn't know were being filmed, moments that made fans pause and whisper. You can't fake that kind of comfort. There were the late-night practices where Jimin pushed himself too hard, and Jungkook was the first to notice. The gentle hand on his back, the quiet offering of a water bottle, the silent, unspoken reassurance. "I'm here." There were the rehearsals where Jimin seemed lost in his thoughts, and Jungkook would step closer without a word, like his body moved before his mind did. There were the concerts where Jimin's nerves were obvious, and Jungkook's hand would always find his, even if only for a second. Those micro moments, invisible to the untrained eye, became crystal clear to fans who had spent years watching them interact. The emotional grammar between them, the tiny signals, the quick glances, the small touches, was something that could only come from people who truly knew one another. So when Jungkook said that being in love with Jimin is fun, many fans didn't hear it as a romantic statement. They heard it as something deeper, a declaration of familiarity, a confession of emotional safety, a whisper from someone who genuinely enjoys being understood. And Jimin's reaction, that soft smile, that shy sparkle in his eyes, felt like a silent recognition, as if he already knew. Fans around the world didn't just react, they investigated, pulling out clips from years past that suddenly gained new meaning. One fan mentioned a moment where Jungkook once said that Jimin was someone who understands him without explanation. It wasn't a headline, it wasn't dramatic, but it suddenly connected to everything. Because it's rare, in life, in friendships, even within families, to find someone who understands you in silence. And that's what many fans believe Jimin is to Jungkook. Jimin knows when Jungkook needs space, when he needs affection, when he needs someone to sit quietly beside him. And Jungkook, in return, knows when Jimin is tired, physically or emotionally, without being told. He notices every detail. He acts without hesitation, not because he must, but because he wants to. Their connection shows most clearly in the small moments. A shoulder leaned on without asking, a whisper shared when no one else is looking, a laugh that only comes out when they're together. And over the years, fans have noticed something else. Jimin has a particular smile he reserves only for Jungkook. Softer, lighter, almost glowing. The kind of smile people have when they're with someone who makes them feel safe. These patterns, these gestures, these shared glances. They became pieces of a puzzle that suddenly felt complete the moment Jungkook let those words slip. When the clip went viral, fans from every continent flooded social media. Hashtags trended instantly. Fan artists created breathtaking illustrations. Editors produced montages that captured the emotional journey of the moment. Analysts dissected their expressions frame by frame. But beneath all the noise, one sentiment echoed. This feels sincere, because anyone who has watched Jungkook for years knows this. He doesn't express deep emotions easily. He isn't someone who casually says sentimental words. It takes a lot for him to open his heart. So when he said it, so casually, so naturally, many fans believed it was one of the most honest things he has ever said about Jimin. And Jimin's reaction, the soft laugh, the lowered gaze, the tiny pinch on Jungkook's arm, felt like someone who didn't need the words, because he had felt the emotion all along. It became, for many, the most Jikook moment ever captured. Natural, warm, spontaneous, unfiltered, the kind of moment that doesn't need a grand stage to be meaningful. Even now, the fandom hasn't stopped talking about it, and maybe they never will. Because in an industry built on perfection and performance, moments of truth are rare. Moments of vulnerability are precious. Moments of sincerity are unforgettable. Jungkook may have spoken only a few words, but they resonated deeply because they sounded like the purest form of affection. Quiet, warm, and undeniable. And perhaps, in the end, that's what moved people the most. Not the confession, not the surprise, but the simplicity. Love in their world doesn't need fireworks. It doesn't need grand gestures. It doesn't need declarations shouted into crowds. Sometimes, it exists in a smile, a glance, a touch, a whisper not meant to escape. Being in love with Jimin is fun. A line so gentle, yet so powerful, it left millions breathless. And maybe, just maybe, it's a reminder that the deepest bonds are often the ones shown in the smallest moments. If you felt something today, if this moment touched you, keep holding on to the warmth it gave. Because in a world this loud, finding a connection that feels this genuine is rare and precious.